Okay. Welcome everyone to IPM's weekly virtual forum. Today is Friday, June 14th, and while it's a little after 11 Eastern time,
May
for those
14th.
of us,
May 14th.
did I say May 14th?
You said June.
I said June. I'm a month ahead of myself. Sorry. Thank you. Here we go again. Today is Friday, May 14th,
Right.
and we're thrilled to have a group of people from around the world joining us for this week's virtual forum. We are really excited today to be joined by two presenters, one of whom I've known pretty much my entire adult life, and another who is a dear friend and colleague of his. Our conversation today is going to be led by IPM's International Executive Board member, Rodrigo Perret, who's a member of the Friars Minor, a brother based in Brazil who has deep connections to Italy, and who I first encountered through my work with the Justice, Peace, and Integrity of Creation office in Rome. Rodrigo has been on the IPM board for a number of years now. He's deeply involved with the Franciscan International Office of Justice, Peace, and Integrity of Creation Commission in Brazil. And we're joined today by his colleague, Moema Miranda, who's a Brazilian anthropologist and secular Franciscan from the Pan-Amazonian Ecclesial Network, or RAPAM. They're both well known and respected in international circles for their work in protecting the human rights of the indigenous people of Brazil and raising awareness to stop the destruction of the Amazon. Moema and Rodrigo will speak to us about the current activities with RAPAM and the Churches and Mining Network to promote environmental justice. Part of why we're so excited for this conversation today is that during the last General Assembly, the International General Assembly of IPM, that was conducted in conjunction with our 44th anniversary, and we turned 47 last week, for those of you who don't know, on May 10th, actually earlier this week. Rodrigo made a suggestion that IPM maybe ought to aspire to be a multi-faith version of the World Council of Churches. And while that seems like an incredible aspiration, it reminds us of the really unique nature of this organization as we look forward to our 50th anniversary. On the call today, we have people that are working in community-based organizations, literally everywhere from Brazil to Kenya, from El Salvador to Nepal. And the focus of their work is often on caste or racial equity, environmental justice, gender equality and human rights for women and girls, migration and refugees, and multi-faith relations. And as we try to discern, looking forward to our 50th anniversary, what might be a more effective role for IPM to work internationally and with what organizations we can partner, the Franciscan Network, of which I've been a part as well for over 30 years, is right at the forefront of our thinking. So we're thrilled to have Rodrigo and Moema with us at this time, and I will turn it over to them now. I would ask that if you're on the Zoom feed that you mute yourself, and if you're following us on Facebook or participating in Zoom, you can type into the chat function at either service at any time, and we'll be monitoring your questions and comments for a discussion at the end of Moema and Rodrigo's presentation. So Rodrigo, how about if I turn it over to you at this
Okay.
point?
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I am very happy to be able to bring Moema to our group and for reflecting. I'm not going to say, but I've been here in this forum before talking about the situation of Brazil. We are living in a very, very complex time, especially from the pandemic. I think here together with India, we are having, I don't know, India surpassed us in terms of cases by day, yes. In terms of death, we are still competing with the US. We are now with 425,000 people already died, and a very sad momentum where we are living on the virus is spread and despite the robust immunization program that we have here in Brazil, vaccines have been slow, dodged by supply shortages and delays. And President Bolsonaro, who once dismissed the virus as just a little flu, opposed lockdowns and failed to secure vaccine supplies in time. Bolsonaro continues to promote ineffective and potentially dangerous drugs to treat the disease, and tens of millions of Brazilians are now facing hunger or food insecurity. The vast majority of the people who live in poor areas, and they work in informal economy. So Brazil is in the grip of a health and social emergency. It has the world's second highest deaths toll from the pandemic, and hospitals are near to collapse. A study last week from Brazilian Research Network on Sovereignty and Food Nutritional Security states that 60% of Brazilian households have food insecurity, and around 43 million don't have much to eat, and 19 million people are in a hunger situation, starving. So experts point to high unemployment, cuts and reductions to social programs, and social movements like the homeless workers movement, landless movement, are taking actions to assist poor population together with other social movements and NGOs. And for example, Landless in many places of the country, Solidarity, share its harvests among the workers affected by the food crisis. The homeless workers movement is opening Solidarity community kitchens in poor areas, trying to form collaborative and collective solutions to hunger. Those Solidarity kitchens, we are also involved in our areas. And it's interesting that some of the settlements from agrarian reform that has connections also with IPM are helping in this process. But I think who is going to be much more able to explain what's happening, the perfect storm that we are living, and the challenges. And as a network, as IPM is, I think she's going to put some ideas. She's going to highlight some issues that we could be thinking, and especially together with the fellows from the US, we are trying to connect faith-based organizations, faith-based groups, because now you guys in the US with Biden are living in a different momentum that we still live in. We're still in Trump era here. So I pass to Moema, and thank you very much for the time and the patience to listen to us. Moema.
Rodrigo, thank you for the invitation. It's really a big honor to be here, and maybe just to share some ideas. 10 minutes, Rodrigo? How long?
Joe, is it? How
10
many
minutes is okay?
I think we can, 10, 15 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay. So first of all, thank you. I think it's quite important that we are gathering at this stage of the history, because I think we are living a particular, unique, and maybe the last opportunity for ground hope in our entire world. I think that the sense of urgency, it's quite important for us today. The youth are having this kind of sense of urgency. The youth are going to the streets and saying, our home is on fire. And you cannot just sit and think of what you will do in the future when time is better. So I think that this sense of urgency is quite important to us. At the same stage of I think, of importance is the sense that, yes, we can do things in a different way. Because part of the tragedy that we are living today is a kind of idea that nothing can be changed, that the world is like that, and we have not the power, the possibility, or the energy to really change it. In Brazil, we are living in a kind of momentum in which we think that everything is coming on our head, and so quick that we cannot even stand up and go to the streets to protest. I think that maybe in the United States, you live that as well, when things are just following, and we are like trying to have some air. We are living without air. And I think that this was the big thing that in the United States, you were able to change when a young George Floyd man said, I cannot breathe like that. So I think that this kind of indignation and of urgency is fundamental in the moment that we are living. In the last 20 years, it became clear to all of us that have eyes to see and ears to listen to people, that the way a minority is living in this world is damaging the world in such a way that it will guide all of us to death. It's a suicide kind of logic, that you can stay in this world as if you were not. And I think that it's quite important that as Christians, as faith-based people, we start to have our connection, our spiritual connection, to really come back to earth. Because I think in some ways, we have been converted to think that we do not belong to this world, as if we are pure people. We live in a spiritual kind of world, and we should not devote our attention to the world. We should not be linked with that. This kind of understanding allowed in the past a kind of understanding that the world is here for sale, that we can just buy and send, and the ones that are able to integrate the market are the ones to whom we should devote the whole house. I think that following the knowledge of indigenous people in all our continents, in India, in Africa, in Latin America, and even in North America, we are each time more conscient that we need urgently to change our way of living. We need to reconnect with Earth. We need to think and to feel it again. We need to put our feet in the mother, and our heart needs to go back to its way of going on and around. Earth is a gentle mother. It can and it has conditions to feed us, to allow us to live in harmony. So what is the problem, and how to face the greed of the giants that before Noah in the Bible were said, no, you cannot stay living here. How to reconnect our hearts to a struggle that allow us to live in peace in Earth, and how to connect our commitment to what is happening in all the world. I think that maybe our generation, and I'm enough old, but in my lifetime, I think we amplified our consciousness that the area where we live and where we our consumption is connecting the whole world. When I was young, people said that the struggle in defense of the environment is something that just the rich people can do. It was as if we were concerned with the small animals. But now we understand that those small animals are us as well. And the pandemic world that we are living in is showing how everything is really very, very, very much linked. We in Brazil or United States, we are completely close to China, and what is happening with the animals in China. You in the United States or in India, you are connected with what is happening in the Amazonian region. If we destroy the forest, the air of the whole country will come about. And we cannot say that we have nothing to do with that, because when we are eating or when we are using the materials that come from this exploitation, we are being part of that. So I think that we are in the proper time, in a very, very much important time. And all of us that are alive today, all of us have a strong responsibility to reconnect our lives and ourselves with struggles of others that are in the whole world, connecting in the same vibration, in the same connection. That's why I think networks like this one is so important in the present time. We need to be able to listen to the cry of poor and the cry of earth that is in our neighborhood, but is very far away. But far away is now connected to us as well. So I think our big challenge as people of faith in this world, in this stage, are two. First, to open the eye and the mind to look to such a disastrous environmental momentum that we are living. People sometimes want not to look to it because it hurts us. But as faith people, we need to be sensitive and to open our eye to look to what is happening. The second thing that I think that is crucial to us is to strengthen hope, because hope is what will allow us not to give up, not to live as if it's not important to us. I think that the pandemic calls to us a new idea of salvation. During a long time, we thought that we could save our souls and that we can do that as an individual because I go to church, I pray, so I can guarantee that my soul would be saved. At this stage, I doubt that very, very much. I don't believe that when we are face to face with God, He will not ask us, what have you been doing when earth could be safe? Where were you at that stage? So I think that as faith-based people, we need to help humanity to reconnect with earth and to respect and to live in harmony. So thank you very much. I'm not sure if I have passed too much of my time. Thank you.
No, that was a excellent summary, and I'm sure there are lots of questions. I can think of about 1 million myself right now, but I'm going to turn it over to I don't know, Rodrigo. Do you want to add anything at this point, or should we open it up for discussion?
No, I think maybe open to discussions, and then maybe we just touch at the end a little bit with the articulations that we could be joining and
Great.
the importance of
Great.
networking.
So we have a couple of comments that immediately came over. Just really for Moema to know that Sister Marie Manning, who is the head of the, or the former head of the Justice, Peace, I think actually Mission Office for the Notre Dame Sisters that are based in Cleveland, Ohio, but work in India, Kenya, and other parts around the world, has joined us on Facebook. Mahesh had commented, Rodrigo, that it may appear that India's deaths aren't as bad, but that's because of the underreporting, though of course we know that the Brazilian government is underreporting the deaths as well, much as the US administration tried to initially. Carol Finling, who is a long-term board member, again, Moema, for your benefit, said, preach, talk, set examples, and even those who should be at the forefront from knowing their background have no, so many people who preach or talk about, I'll say God's creation here, have no real respect for creation. They care about each other and themselves, but it's the earth connection that is elusive. Is there something you can say as a secular Franciscan, a woman of faith, about how to help people understand their connection to Mother Earth or to God's creation from your experience?
Now?
Sure. Yes, please.
Okay. So thank you very much. I think that this is a very important question. And we in Brazil and Latin America, and as Church and Mining Network, we have been thinking a lot about that. We live in a continent, I'm talking about Latin America, you certainly have the same United States, but I'm focusing in our country. We are living in a continent that has been colonized for a long, long time, and is the result of colonization. In the very beginning, and this is something that is quite important to us to understand, the Europeans that came, and they came with the gun and with the cross, they came thinking that they would save these people from poverty or from ignorance or from not knowing how to live and live well. This kind of hubris of thinking that one is best than the other was possible and was connected with slavery in our continent. So it was a kind of combination process in which we explore the earth, we use the work of Black people to do that, and we accumulate wealth with very few people each and every time. And one understanding of the book of creation, of Genesis, and I think now today a bad understanding of that, was an understanding that God created everything and put a white man in the middle and said to him, just dominate under all and over all. Women, Black men, animals, just dominate. And this way of understanding really provide lots of disturbance and of incapacity to listen and to hear to what indigenous people that have been living here for thousands of years before learned with creation. I think that since a long time, and Joe, you mentioned Leonardo Boffey, I think that Leonardo has been very key in the middle of the 90s to understand and to open really his eyes. Because even in terms of people that was struggling for human rights, many times we thought that we, the whites, know more and better than them, and that these people should come out of poverty and integrate society as if this white society was a model. And I think that more and more and more, we have been understanding that it's other way around. In the Synod of Amazon region, it was amazing how the indigenous people were able to tell and to say. And if you look to the map of Brazil today, if you take a picture from above of the Amazonian region, you will see that the only areas where you have the forest protect are the ones that are with the indigenous people. Otherwise, it's pure devastation. It's pure devastation. And today we are in a situation in which science has come to the same understanding that everything is connected and we cannot live as if we are not part of Earth, as if we are a kind of people that live in the superficie, as if nature is something that is out of my window and I'm the humans, we play the real history. So that's why I think Pope Francis in Laudato Si talks so many times about conversion. It is really needed. And it's quite difficult to the white people that is well in this world to convert to move and to look back to what is happening. That's why I really do think that St. Francis is an important example, I would say, because he have done that. He have had the courage of leave, of go beyond the area where he was protected. And when he have done that, he started to learn with creation. So creation is the first good and beautiful meal of the love of Lord. Only a God of immense love could have created a so beautiful world. And this conversion is, of course, not easy, but it's our only way to go back and to revisit all the knowledge that is in the Bible, that we will see that if we listen and live that with the eye and the heart of the indigenous people, of black people that take care of earth, we will learn much, much, much more.
Thank you so much, Moema. I want to, there's, every time you respond, it's opening up new questions for me, but there are others that have typed into the Zoom function. So Les Weber, who's in Chicago, is asking, could you share how your programs in the Amazon region are organized and how they do their work? Is that a clear question?
Yes, maybe it's a clear question and a long answer, but
Yeah, right?
maybe too long to the time that we have. I very much ask you to go to the site of REPAM, the network that is not only Brazilian, it's for the whole Amazonian region, that there are 9 countries all around. And networking is the major and key way of working today. For many time, we had in the Amazonian region the presence of churches of different denominations. And now we understand more than ever that we need to network, to work not in silos, isolated one of others, not just trying to solve the souls to our own church, but working together in cooperation, in collaboration with the indigenous people, with Afro-descendant groups, with people in the cities that are working on behalf of human rights. The Amazonian region is very, very big in under real dangerous today. So it's not enough even the people that live there. So part of our work as well is to build a kind of sensibilization to the importance to have the presence and the concern of others. And the United States with Biden, governed Biden today, it's quite key in the kind of agreements that they will do with the Brazilian government. That's why as well we work trying to build solidarity between our countries to try to convert this kind of process. But in the site of REPAM, you can find lots of information of what we have been doing and how we are working. And even we can think about possibilities of in other moments, talk more specifically on how to build connections between REPAM and IPM.
Thank you. I'm posting a link from the Synod. I'm not sure that's exactly the right one. The REPAM page that came up for me was from Caritas. And having worked at Caritas Internationalis, I'm not sure I want to post that one either. So I'll let you, maybe you or Rodrigo could give us the actual website. Are either one of you able to speak a little bit more? And I think Moema, maybe you, IPM is an organization that in many ways, despite what I look like, most of the leadership doesn't look like me. It's primarily female and primarily not in the United States. So as a lay secular Franciscan working, thank you for posting that website. It's in the Zoom chat now and we'll share it later. Can you say a little bit about sort of how you've worked in a, maybe more patriarchal ecclesial structure how you've managed to do the work you do, and how you might imagine an organization that is multi-faith, not just Catholic or even Christian, addressing these issues like what you've been discussing around care of creation, mining, and justice in the Amazon.
Joe, I think this is quite important. And we as Franciscans, we work in many networks that are not just Catholic. And I think this is key to what we are doing today. I think it's not possible to still believing that just one understanding of God or God's creation will be able to save the world at the stage that we are living, that is an emergency kind of moment. And of course, we need to have lots of creativity and lots of resistance and resilience not to give up. That's why I think that having faith in the God of love is quite important today. In our network as well, we work lots of times with indigenous communities that have their own spirituality. And I think that this is crucial for us to strengthen and to deepen the process that we have been doing. So the capacity of listening and of changing the way we act to act together is quite important. That's why, and that's what I think, that those are the only ways to strengthen. Today, it's not possible to work isolated in one church or with one kind of understanding. But we are facing, and I think that this needed to be said, in a world in which intolerance is each time more growing. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's so important for us to give visibility and sensitivity to the kind of work that we all are doing, and to show that it's possible. So it's amazing to have here people from Nepal, from India, from the United States, here from Brazil, from Mexico. This is amazing, and we need to show each time more that this is feasible and possible, and that we learn more and we become even more better Christians when we are able to open ourselves to the understanding of others. I think that today I can reread the Bible and Genesis with much more and deepest understanding, because I've been listening to what the indigenous people are saying and how they think the creation of world, that is completely different of the version that I have of that same emergence. But when I go back to the Bible, I do not lose my identity. So I think that this is crucial. We cannot have a strong participation in the world in an identity if we isolated ourselves as individuals that think only from our own being. As much as we open ourselves, the better me I become. I become a better Moema when I'm able to understand what Sony, what Joe, what Bindia has to say about the word, because then I can have many eyes and I can have different hearts in my same way of understanding. If I open myself, I do not lose, is the only way to become the better person that I can. So if I'm here to answer to what God calls me, and if the first word is not mine, it's from God, that I really do feel, not just I believe with my head, but if I feel that in my whole life, the more I open myself to others, the best way I have to answer and to reread my tradition in deepest ways. If you take the history of the people of the Bible, they have been rereading their own past in different moments. The Bible is the experience of people that reread the past with the eye of the call of the present, and that allow that the future make questions that they could revisit and rewrite. So we are urged to do that again. And it's just fundamentalism that do not allow us to open ourselves. But I think we need to understand that we are living in an unstable world. The future is very dangerous, and people think that they could be safe if they are secure, and they think that to have fundament is to become fundamentalist. So we need to talk with these people with our hearts in our head, with our hearts in our hands, and to understand the kind of difficulty, the kind of fear that put people isolated and explain. And more than that, I think, Joe, to expose how it's possible. So your experience after a long time of working together is quite important to be shared, to be showcased, to be explained, and in a way that we can invite people to come to us and to really touch them in their hearts and in their lives.
Thank you. Thank you again, Moema. I want to open it up to everyone else, but just so you know, and we can share her contact information with you and Rodrigo, but Marie Manning is saying that the Sisters of Notre Dame are also in Brazil. I had forgotten that. I knew they were in Kenya and India, but again, they're headquartered in Cleveland, which is where IPM is headquartered.
Dorothy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are in the Amazon region in many areas where we work together.
Yeah.
Sister Dorothy. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we know that, some of us know that history. But they said they've been very concerned about the situation there. And at their upcoming 2022 international meeting, they will include a focus on addressing the climate change crisis. So she's interested in gathering ideas of how our congregation can best have an impact. So we'll be happy to share her contact information directly with you, since she's working from their headquarters, their international headquarters in Ohio. But obviously the sisters, as you probably know, the numbers are growing in places like Brazil and Kenya and India in a way they're not in the United States. How about those of you on Zoom? Would anyone like to add a comment now or a question? Please feel free to unmute yourself. I know that a couple of other people have joined us. Adela Zayas, who's our Director of International Programs and Partnerships from El Salvador, has joined the call. Let's see, there's a couple of others here, but Ohima Chawan, who's in Golana, working with the Dalit community there in Gujarat, India, has also joined on Facebook. Please feel free to unmute yourself. Carol is just reaffirming that this is one of the beauties of IPM, is the way that these connections are made and how much they are needed.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that the relationship between Brazil and India also goes back a long way. And Paulo Freire and Pedagogy of the Oppressed has been a very strong influence on a lot of the work that we do with Dalit communities in India. And environment has also been key to it. And I think Father Heredero, whom some of you have met, has always spoken to about it and taught us a lot about it. So in many ways, we're glad to meet both of you and listen to you and your work. And it is the fact that you mentioned that we're all interconnected and we can't do this alone. It's true, we can't do this alone, but faith-based movements do have a long-term impact. That's what I feel on lay people too. So just thank you for that.
Thank you, Mahesh. And Moema, and I'm not sure if Brazil knows, if Rodrigo knows, Father Heredero is a Jesuit. He's in his 90s, who's worked in Golana and out of the St. Xavier University in Ahmedabad. And he was silenced under the prior Pope, but he's recent, he had that silence being removed, and he's back in his community and really doing remarkable work there with the Dalit community and is teaching about liberation theology in a Dalit context. Clint, are you looking to say something? I'm trying to pick out.
I just wanted to thank Moema for her words. She's mentioned the Bible several times, a biblical scholar, Moema, focusing on Hebrew scripture, the Christian Old Testament, including the book of Genesis, obviously. And you're absolutely right. The book, our own tradition, I speak as a Christian, our own tradition has been so often misread and misappropriated to understand dominion as the right to dominate, rather than responsibility to care for and to delight in the ongoing productivity of creation. We're destroying instead of preserving. And it's just absolutely unbiblical, in my opinion, and just reinforces the importance. Like you said, it's happened throughout the generations that we've read and reread and reinterpreted our sacred text, Christian and otherwise. And it's just absolutely crucial that we do that now, in view of the ongoing ecological catastrophe, really, that we're facing in Brazil, but really throughout the world. So thank you for your leadership in that regard. And I hope that IPM can continue to be in communication with you and cooperation with you as well. So thank you very much.
I'm going to unmute myself, but not show video, since I feel a little bit like the wizard behind the curtain. I just wanted, again, to thank Moema, you and Rodrigo for sharing your time and your words today with us. So much was evident in terms of our parallel missions and work with the indigenous and those who have no voice. I was particularly struck by, you know, you're mentioning how we need to strengthen hope, and that is something that IPM works very do. And, you know, when we were discussing the title of today's presentation, Rodrigo, Joe, and I, we were wondering how to really capture, you know, the scope of it. But it is really through collaboration, international multi-faith collaboration, that we can really amplify the needs and the voice for this issue. And we're very excited to continue to partner in any way we possibly can going forward. So thank you both again for sharing your time with us today.
And Vicky Jimenez, who's our coordinator of the Immersion Experience program and the virtual immersions we've been doing since she started with us almost 2 years ago, is also adding. She's in El Salvador, Moema. She's saying that she loves your reflection of having many hearts by understanding the worldwide struggle. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. Thank you, Vicky. Clint and Ilsa, anyone else? I think we have maybe another minute. Anyone else wants to add anything or has a question or a comment at this point? Let me just check Facebook one more time. I'm kind of chuckling at myself because when the Leonardo Boff Forum was organized, it was perfectly organized. And I feel like we've been struggling throughout this one with the call-in and the chat function. But I'm glad that we'll be able to share this on Facebook afterwards. And I know many hundreds of people will watch it there once we've ended the program today. Anyone else want to add anything from any of the other IPM regional offices, project partners, perspectives? Well, thank you all for joining us. It is 12 o'clock Eastern time here in the East Coast of the United States. And this has been a wonderful conversation. It was nice to meet you virtually, Moema, and we're deeply grateful to Rodrigo for making this connection. We really are looking forward to expanding our collaboration, particularly with the Franciscan family as a quasi-secular myself, but also because of the shared passions we have for God's creation and God's people, no matter what the faith tradition is that all of us bring to our work within the IPM family. Sony from Nepal is also thanking you and for sharing such helpful and nice information during this virtual meeting. So we'll look forward to following up with both of you in due time, and hopefully when travel is available, having you with us or being with you in person. We've had a couple of immersions to Brazil And I know there are many people anxious to go back and would like to learn more and see for themselves the kind of work that you all are doing. Next week, we had planned to have a presentation from Annie Sau, who's a member of IPM's External Audit Committee and has worked with the Metro Health System in Cleveland and is a passionate advocate primarily for healthcare for children from less privileged communities and with mental challenges in Northeastern Ohio. She's unable to join us, so we're pulling together a different presentation for next Friday, and we'll be communicating that information for you. We'd ask you to keep Annie in your prayers. She's having some of her own health challenges at this time. We want to thank you again, everyone, for being with us today. To remind you that IPM was thrilled to celebrate our 47th anniversary on May 10th earlier this week. There's a feed on Facebook to the presentation in the virtual forum we had last Friday. If you're interested in learning more about our history or would like to share that with your friends, and you can look forward to hearing from us a little bit more in the coming weeks, those of you particularly in the US who have been so generous in your support of IPM during the pandemic and the work of our partners around the world. We'll look forward to being again with you next Friday. And again, Rodrigo and Moema, Pace and Bene, as we say, and greetings and again, and thank you for all that you brought to today's conversation. And may the peace that passes all understanding be with all of you this weekend and in the coming days. And we'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Take good care and muito obrigado, I think we say in Portuguese.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Paz e bem, muito obrigada.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Peace.
Thank you, everyone.